section in our website and sign up for our newsletter to stay informed about different events, news, and updates in both English and Spanish. Also, please stay tuned for information on our in our newsletter about how you can help funding or finding candidates for the different scholarships offered through our foundation. Marco?
Thank you, Jose. Welcome, everyone. I am thrilled for the opportunity to present to you individuals and issues that will shape our community in the years to come. The past year has offered a great opportunity to reshape how we think about social justice, our economy, but also infrastructure. With the rise of online shopping, working from home, and e-learning, we found ourselves in the need of more access to broadband, internet, cellular data access, and just overall more digital sources, more than we need right now. Highways, high-speed trains and airports, because no one is using them right now, but technology and high-speed connectivity is a must. Our friends, Maria Costa Velez from Verizon and Ana Rua from Crown Castle, have very graciously offered to give us a glimpse at the future on how 5G will impact our community in a very positive way, allowing us to consume more digital resources at a lower cost. I am also incredibly excited to interview a person who I have known for several years, a good friend, and I think is an outstanding entrepreneurial an example for all of us, Jaime Paniagua, the CEO of Paniagua Enterprises, an infrastructure firm that has worked in a lot of the physical aspects of the technology. With that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Mario. Please take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Maryland Hispanic Chamber. And thank you, Marco, for your introduction. And many thanks to the Chamber for inviting us to participate in this 5G forum today. More importantly, I'd like to say thank you for your leadership in facilitating this important conversation about the benefits of 5G technology and how we can improve connectivity in Maryland. There's a lot of there are a lot of things happening, a lot of improvements, a lot of investments on 5G that we are very, very excited to talk about today. And I'd like to start this presentation with sharing some key points. First of all, 5G will have a massive impact on how we live, learn, work, and play. And during today's program, we'll see some examples of how 5G is going to transform our lives, our economy, and our communities in very positive ways. Very important both for consumers as well as businesses. And we know we have a lot of small business owners who are part of the chamber, and today's conversation is going to be very relevant in terms of how 5G can help businesses grow. I think that when we look also at how 5G will improve the quality of life in our communities and how it will help deliver telehealth and healthcare in more effectively and efficient ways. And 5G will help enhance the national and local economies. So those are some of the key aspects of things that we will discuss today. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic has been very challenging and has impacted our communities in different ways. In 2021, these challenges will continue. And there is no doubt that wireless and connectivity became and remains extremely essential to keep our communities and our businesses connected. As we discuss the impact of and promise of 5G, one key question that emerges is what is possible with 5G? To illustrate the potential impact and the promise of 5G technology, I'd like to show you a video recently premiered by Verizon called Speed of Thought. This video shows examples of how 5G will have a transformational impact in three key areas: healthcare, education, and public safety. So let's play the video.
A 7-year-old little boy trapped in a bedroom. The little boy's screaming, they can all hear him, and they're searching, giving it their very best effort. No visibility, you just can't see. The screams eventually muffled. They just couldn't make it to him.
We had a young woman in her 40s with an acute heart attack. The total transfer time to get her to our hospital in Grand Rapids was 3 hours. There's a feeling of helplessness as a physician that you know what the treatment is to limit their heart attack, limit their chance of death, but you can't get to them.
Sometimes it's these horrible tragedies that lead us to look for new technologies that can help us do our jobs better.
We as innovators and technologists, we always push a little beyond.
What are the problems that are out there that need to be solved?
You really are risking your life every time you walk across the street.
If you want to start sparking change, ask difficult questions.
Why don't you come in the fire with me?
We used to teach that you had 15, 20 minutes to get out of your home. Today we tell you have 15, 20 seconds.
A lot of people before me have been doing work to break the glass ceiling and provide a pathway. She should break the whole ceiling and bring everybody through.
This is life-saving technology that helps everyone.
The goal is to entirely eliminate serious injuries by 2027.
It's a big leap forward to go from where we were then to what is able to be accomplished with 5G, 5th generation.
I think we're going to see stuff that just wasn't possible, and you're going to look back and marvel at it.
Thank you for showing the video, and I hope that you all agree that it's very powerful, and the promise and the impact of the 5G can have in our lives is transformational, it's revolutionary, as some of those examples provided in that video. And it will definitely impact and improve key aspects of our daily lives. And it shows how far we have come since the first cell phone call, what we call using the 1G, and I will talk a little bit more about it in a little bit. So this video also helps us understand another important aspect, and it is that besides the benefits that it can bring to all of our communities, it is also very important to know what is needed from a policy and infrastructure perspective to make the promise of 5G a reality. And today we'll discuss a little bit more of that during our presentations today. I'd like now to share a PowerPoint to share some additional information on what is 5G, the impact it has on consumers, economy, and other aspects. So I'm going to share real quick a document. So one of the key questions that we one of the first questions that people usually ask us is, what is 5G? So essentially 5G is the 5th generation of wireless technology. But in order to understand this amazing technology, I think it is helpful to understand what came before it. So broadly, the 1st generation of mobile technology. So I'm going to ask everyone this key question is, when you were able to, when you got your first cell phone and you were able to only make a phone call with that cell phone that was brought to you by 1G. When you use a cell phone to be able to send a short message, such as text messaging, that was brought by 2G. When you were able to use a smartphone to access the internet and get information through the internet, that was enabled by 3G. And today, when you use your smartphones to access data and information in much faster rates and actually use key applications such as Uber, that is brought to you by 4G. So just to give you an example of somehow that technology has evolved over time to meet the needs of our consumers and our businesses. Ultimately, 5G will be even faster of what we get today with 4G, with massive bandwidth and greater opportunities for connectivity, research, access to information, and ensuring that communities and businesses stay connected, especially during challenging times. Just to illustrate that, let me give you an example. 5G, it is 100 times faster than 4G. For example, with 4G, it takes about 6 minutes to download a movie. With 5G, that same movie can be downloaded in about 15 seconds. I'm sure a lot of us will love to be able to have that level of speed in order to stream movies or any other video. So that is really the speed of the transformation that 5G can bring. 5G also can serve 100 times more devices at the same time than 4G. And we're talking about cars, autonomous cars, smart watches, baby monitors, VR headsets, and many other devices connected using data and fast speed at the same time. So as we saw in the video that we just showed, 5G has the potential to transform key industries such as education, healthcare, public safety, and many others. And we all believe in the industry and our communities that 5G will pave the way for unprecedented innovations that will reshape the world. And we'll explore more of that today. Go to the next slide. So why is 5G important? In order to understand that, I think it's good to also take a look at some of the statistics and some of the information that show us why 5G is important and why we're investing in these important networks. Let me just move this here real quick. For example, 39% gigabytes of data per month. It is some of the data that we have received. Mobile data traffic per smartphone will rise from 7 gigabytes per month in 2018 to 39 gigabytes per month in 2024. So in a matter of 3 years, we'll see a dramatic increase on this mobile data traffic and the need to have enhanced connectivity in order to meet those demands. Another important statistics is that around 57% of American households are now wireless only for voice service. And there are expected that by the year 2023, 31 billion devices will be connected. In order to be able to meet that level of demand, we need a robust network in 5G that can provide consumers service that they need to meet these demands. Important here on the right side is that about 80% of 911 calls originate from a cell phone, and 200 million 911 calls are made annually in many areas. 80% or more of those are from wireless devices. So that tells you that when it comes to emergencies and public safety and many other aspects, having access to reliable and robust 5G technology and networks is going to be essential to be able to help meet the demands, increasingly and growing demands from our consumers and businesses. Something that I would like to mention real quick is when it comes to performance, 5G also has shown tremendous benefits to for businesses and consumers. Something's having a little problem here with the presentation, but so when we look at these elements of performance, one of them is to look at all the different aspects in which 5G from a performance perspective can experience the consumer, can enhance the consumer experience, the business experience in accessing data and information. As the evolution slide demonstrates, wireless technology has evolved to facilitate access to information on the go, enhance how people access this information, improve connection about businesses, and more importantly, to show that this technology has become indispensable to meet this increasing demand. In all of these areas on this particular slide show how, from a performance perspective, it will improve the speed through which consumers and people and businesses access the information they need, will connect a lot more devices, than the current 4G. It will demonstrate higher efficiency, and more importantly, it will enhance the data volume as more devices are connected. At the same time, on this particular network, you will see an increased capability to not only receive but to send data at the same time while all of these documents, all of these devices are connected. For example, think of a stadium in Baltimore and thousands of people using their smartphones and devices, wireless devices to connect. Given the high level of usage that will happen in that environment, having a 5G network will enhance how all of those devices can have connectivity, can access the data and information at the same time in fast, in high quality ways. So that shows you some of the potential use and benefits of 5G. I would like to just show you in terms of the industries that are going to be impacted in a positive way with the deployment of 5G networks. And those are education, public safety, economic development, the quality of life. As we saw in the video, the 5G technologies will enable innovations to enhance not only the quality of life and the services that people receive, but also how these industries improve services, delivery, and solutions in key cities around the United States, or especially here in Maryland. In terms of education, students and teachers will be able to experience enhanced learning, not only in the classroom, but also remote learning, especially today when we have seen that distant learning has become essential to enhance education and to ensure that the students and teachers continue to enhance the learning experiences of the students that they serve. 5G will be able to enhance in a really positive and impactful way the way in which students learn, the way in which they access information, and the way in which they all actually connect with students, even in other countries, to enhance their learning and development. So that's one of the areas where we will see some great improvements. Another one is in healthcare. And one of the areas that we noticed as a result of the pandemic, if you have been following the healthcare industry, you will see that there is a dramatic increase in the use of telehealth and how people have been able to access services, information, and in healthcare remotely. We have to ensure that our networks continue to be strong and that with a 5G network, healthcare institutions, whether they are large hospitals in Baltimore like Johns Hopkins or other smaller healthcare organizations and clinics that provide key services to their communities, that are able to not only continue to provide those services, but innovate in the delivery of this healthcare with the use of 5G technology. Another area that is important for us to look at in terms of 5G and impact is in the economy. And these are some estimated and projection numbers. Boston Consulting Group, which is a prominent research organization in the United States, has published recently a study on the impact of 5G and the economy. And these are some of the numbers that came out of that study that I think are really relevant and important. It says, thanks to the 5G economy, wireless-related jobs will double, adding 4.5 million new jobs over the next decade as an estimate. They also see a projection of 1.5 trillion in economic growth as a result of 5G economy in this country over the next 10 years. But if you look at the right, those are some of the projected percentages of how 5G will enhance and improve different aspects of industries and economies. 11% projected job growth in the healthcare, 22.8% in professional services, 24% in education jobs, 25.5% in entertainment and food, and 30.7% in transportation and warehousing. And those are just some examples of the impact of 5G and the economy on the global scale. But if we look at Maryland in particular, the same study also shared some estimates that I think are important. Overall, I think 5G and the economy in Maryland is estimated and projected to contribute 21.4 billion GPD growth and an estimated 62.6 thousand new jobs in these industries. So those are important numbers, important projections in terms of how 5G will have an impact in the economy in the state. And I think as we look at how we build and deploy this important network, these are some of the benefits that we want our communities, especially when we look at the Hispanic community and the business Hispanic community in particular, how this industry and this technology evolution will help create more opportunities for our businesses. Finally, I would like to mention that when it comes to realizing the power and promise of 5G, policymakers and our local municipalities will play and can play a critical role in enabling a successful 5G economy and a successful deployment of 5G technology across the state. I know that during our presentation from one of our partners here, we will see a little bit more about the status of 5G deployment across the state and its particular cities in Maryland. But I'd like to mention something really important when it comes to the collaboration and the support that needs to happen from our cities in order to make this a reality. The studies that I highlighted share, in order to deliver the 5G networks, improve the connectivity for consumers and businesses, and help industries grow and evolve, a robust deployment of network infrastructure is needed. Communities across Maryland will benefit from these enhanced communities and innovations that 5G will enable and support. But very, very important, localities need to move faster to accelerate the deployment of infrastructure technology and network. We want all communities in Maryland to be able to have access to this amazing technology and the benefits and the solutions that it will bring. But building and deploying this important infrastructure network is essential. And I know Crown Castle will talk a little bit in more detail about this. But I'd like to close by stating that we can achieve this goal of bringing the 5G technology to all Maryland communities across the state without the support of forward-looking policymakers who understand the need for policies that promote 5G. Forward-thinking cities across the United States, but we want forward-thinking cities here in Maryland know that it is crucial for their communities to have access to the next generation technology and are often first to welcome the necessary build out. And as we deploy this great network, we want and we encourage organizations and consumers and business to express support and excitement for what 5G can bring to all of us. And to close, so if 5G is going to change how we live, work, and play, as many have predicted in some of the examples, the video and the studies have shown, cities across the state that lead in deployment of this new technology will have a leg up in competition that attract businesses and create jobs. Thank you, and I look forward to our Q&A later today.
Thank you, Mario. This is exciting information. We're very excited, and not only for the technology that 5G is going to bring, but also the opportunity of creating more jobs and new businesses that are going to be created because of that, and build the infrastructure. So I'm really excited about that. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Ana Rua from Crown Castle that is going to continue, sharing this exciting information about 5G. Ana, please.
Thank you so much, Marco. And I really wanted to thank the Maryland Hispanic Chamber for giving us this opportunity to communicate with the community and business owners in Maryland, throughout Maryland. And I'm just honored always to be here with my partner, Mario Costa from Verizon, one of the great customers for Crown Castle, and Jaime, who is one of the builders. So this is the ecosystem that, you know, we're the builders and the managers and the stewards of these networks. And I'm here to talk to you about the infrastructure necessary to deliver 5G, because it's going to take an extraordinary, robust investment, and it's going to take a huge ecosystem and a variety of organizations and businesses to be able to build this network. So we have a small video as well that's going to talk about the critical infrastructure that delivers the radios, the spectrum necessary. So we'll just have Zach play the video on small cells.
Technology is changing the way we live, work, and interact with the world. So Crown Castle is working hard to make sure communities like yours have the right mix of towers, small cells, and fiber to keep you connected. Understandably, many ask, what are small cells? Like their name implies, small cells are small. They use low-power antennas, sometimes called nodes, that are often attached to existing structures like streetlights and utility poles. Fiber-connected small cell networks have become the preferred way of expanding wireless coverage and network capacity. With thousands of small cell nodes already deployed around the country, there's a good chance you've walked by them before and never even noticed. This is one of nearly 50 nodes we've been deploying in this city since 2014. Every community is different. That's why we work closely with cities on the design, in this case, the paint color and light standard. It matches the other poles in the area. So let's take a closer look. First, notice the larger base. Inside, there are multiple radios serving our wireless carrier customer. Our small cells are designed so that multiple wireless carriers can use them, reducing unnecessary infrastructure and maximizing benefits for residents. Next, at the top of the pole, there's a 4G Omni Antenna. This means it provides 360 degrees of coverage. This antenna accommodates 12 ports for coaxial cables that are hidden inside the pole and attached to the radios. This is all then connected by underground electric cables that power the node, as well as fiber, which means that this small cell can handle massive amounts of data at fast speeds. And this fiber is not just connecting the small cell network, but it also serves the neighboring businesses and organizations. Now, let's take a look at a small cell attached to a utility pole. Every community has different needs. Some want the equipment on the ground, blending with the streetscape. Others want the equipment on the pole. Here, the radios are in this cabinet. It contains one radio serving our wireless carrier customer with room to accommodate 2 or 3 more customers. And just like communities, utilities have different needs too. In this case, we use a smart meter, which can be as small as a hockey puck. But what happens when you add 5G to an existing 4G installation? Well, let's take a look at a different utility pole. The 5G equipment is placed directly underneath the 4G LTE antennas. With 5G, the radios are built into the antenna to reduce latency. Fully integrated 5G antennas will not only enable faster speeds, but new technologies and mobile experiences that will make our cities smarter, safer, and more efficient. And there you have it. We hope you learned more about small cells. They're helping keep your community safe, connected, and ready for the future.
So as you can see, it takes a variety of technologies to be able to deliver 5G. So I'm Anna Rua, and I represent Crown Castle's government affairs space. And to Mario's earlier point, 5G and 4G and current communications technology supports 80% of 911 calls. It supports an enormous variety of data consumption 50% of American households no longer have a wireline and completely rely on their wireless services, which, as we've been experiencing inclement weather and weather aberrations and weather emergencies, becomes even more critical. I'd like to talk a little bit about Crown Castle and who we are. A lot of times folks reach out when we're meeting with policymakers along with the carriers, and they don't realize that Crown Castle is the nation's largest shared wireless infrastructure provider. So what does that mean? It means that the three infrastructure assets that you saw in the earlier video, we are the infrastructure builder on behalf of the carriers like Verizon. So we have approximately 40,000 cell towers, 70,000 route miles of fiber optic, actually 80,000 route miles of fiber optic, and approximately 70,000 small cells on node. Fiber optic is really foundational to the telecommunications infrastructure. It is about the size of a human hair, and it allows the connectivity to travel at the speed of light. The only thing that prevents it from computing that speed of light is the hardware at the end. And Crown Castle is proud to have approximately 80,000 route miles of it, which is enough, I like to say, to go around the circumference of the Earth twice over. So we will play, along with our carrier partners, a critical mission in deploying these networks, in making the investments together. And this is really going to be driven, as Mario had kind of mentioned earlier and alluded to, this is really being driven by private sector investment. We build these networks on behalf of the, where there is identifiable demand. We blanket and cover the entirety of the country with the network. And it's really mission critical as we go and support from 4G to build and go on to 5G, which is why it's so critical that businesses get involved and policymakers create smart policy to help usher in a new era of layering on the 5th generation of wireless technology. So I'd like to talk a little bit about an initiative that we have going on that we'd love for the members of the Maryland Hispanic Chamber to join. Businesses small and large can obviously be members, because to Mario's earlier presentation, this technology, telecommunications, mobile infrastructure, is going to not only impact the highlighted areas, right? It's going to impact healthcare, it will impact public safety, it will impact economic development, but it will impact every facet of your daily life. Everything from when we go back to hopefully a regular environment and not a pandemic environment, everything from your GPS is going to get smarter. Healthcare, obviously, in this pandemic environment has grown leaps and bounds in what it needs. So, being able to get vaccination, you get those online, being able to do contact tracing, you download apps. So the healthcare space is in the midst of a real revolution and a real evolution, and it's going to be 5G that essentially is foundationally what's going to catapult a majority of industries, regardless of industry, is going to be ushered into a new era of efficiencies and technologies. So we'd like to talk a little bit about the MD 5G, which is a partnership that we have really with a variety of business organizations, community leaders, and advocates to essentially be the voice and the education tool that we give Maryland so that they know how important this technology is. We're really proud to have Verizon as a partner. We're really proud to have the Maryland Hispanic Chamber as a partner. And we have a dedicated website where folks on this podcast, on this video, will be able to sign on afterward if you're interested to learn more, to help voice and communicate to leadership and policymakers how important 5G is going to be to your business, regardless whether it's small or large. Again, the amount of connected devices, the amount of data consumption, the amount of mobile traffic, these networks that we built on behalf of the carriers throughout the last 20 years, through the evolutions. When we built the 4G networks, we never really thought about the innovation that was going to be layered on top of it. And what ended up happening was that we built the capacity for a smartphone and smart technology for two-way data and for massive amounts of devices to go onto the network. And what came out of it was the app economy and innovation that we didn't foresee, right? So you can now do online banking. You know, folks use Uber. You know, everything from your healthcare to your billing, everything is done and everything is tethered to our apps and to our devices. And that is only going to increase as we get more smart devices online. So what does that mean? It means that healthcare is going to have wearables from probably the moment you're born to the moment you pass, and everything in between to create healthcare efficiencies throughout. You know, care of the elderly is going to be done through sensors and through you know, Internet of Things types of technologies. And that is going to require a really robust network and data. And so that's what we're really trying to do. That's what we're trying to usher. And so, you know, to Mario's point, the technology is going to have significant direct economic impact, positive impact to specifically Maryland. You know, there was a mention of about 24,000 jobs and, you know, tens of billions of dollars. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg, because that's what we can quantify, not the innovation that we haven't even thought about, like what happened and what was layered onto 4G. So we'd like to, maybe we can, Zach, we can skip to the cell tower in-building rooftops and the fiber piece of it. Right? So again, we're going to have, you know, one thing that often isn't talked about is energy efficiency and in-building technology. So you're going to have seamless connectivity. It's no longer going to be that you hop into an elevator and you lose, oh, I'm going into an elevator, I'm going to lose you. That is going to hopefully be a thing of the past once we usher in this combined infrastructure and technology. There's actually been a study that demonstrates that that lost calls equate to approximately $9 billion worth of GDP loss in the American GDP. So those in-building moments where you lose connectivity on your elevator, that has business consequences. That has an economic impact. 5G will hopefully usher in a new era with a variety of the technologies, with a combination of fiber cell towers, in-building rooftops, and small cells. All of this combined is going to create an ubiquitous network. So you're not going to lose connectivity from the second you leave home. Your home will be wired to be fully connected. Just to kind of grab your imagination, you'll have an efficient route to work. So there's going to be time savings, less energy consumption. Your car will be smarter as a result of it. So 5G is really just going to usher in a completely new era. And I'd like to go to the page of planning, of where Maryland stands in planning for 5G. To Mario's point, when we build these networks, we build them where there is identifiable demand. And we as companies make determinations of the allocations of resources based on, you know, the ability of us to have legislation in place that's going to create a baseline. When we deploy small cells, which is going to be a fundamental critical asset for 5G, we really rely on two specific things. We really rely on the ability to build these networks quickly. And unfortunately, right now, the averages for us to deploy a single small cell fall into the 24-month to 36-month range. And that's frankly not the timeline that will usher us into this new era and deliver all of these economic promises and innovations. We need to be more thoughtful. We need to be more diligent. We need policymakers to help us work and deploy these networks more quickly. We do this with private investment. We're not soliciting money from government. We're not using taxpayer money to go pay for these networks. These are really private investments to usher in a robust network for everybody who's a customer, a mobile customer to use. And as you can see, unfortunately, there's a hodgepodge of municipalities and counties. Some counties have legislation, some don't, some have pending, some have nothing at all. And that's really to the detriment of Maryland as a whole. So we really need to take a holistic look at Maryland and hopefully usher in an era where there's statewide legislation like the 30 other states that have passed this legislation that create two things. It creates a baseline and a timeline for municipalities to be responsive to companies that are seeking to make this investment to enhance the network. And then the other thing is it creates a baseline for what can be charged for the municipal asset, either the street light or the utility pole. And why that's significant and why that's important is, of course, we're building these networks specifically for your community, and we're working in partnership to ensure that they're aesthetically, blending in and doing all of these things. But we're also building these networks for the United States of America, and we're doing them at scale. So really, we need to be able to have a balance of costs on the net, right? We need to be able to, like small businesses, like all businesses, have a budget, a nationwide budget to being able to build these networks. And so having a uniformity in the cost gives us certainty. Having uniformity in the timeframes in which we build these networks gives certainty and frankly allows more money to be invested in these communities, because if the carriers and the Crown Castles of the world are saying, well, it's great to build in Maryland, there's growth in Maryland, let's invest our dollars in Maryland, as opposed to making a decision of going somewhere else because they have a better regulatory environment for us. So that's really key and critical. If municipalities want to be forward thinking, they want to be thinking of how can we create an environment where we're not being prohibited and where we're really looking for the telecommunications industry to be a partner. And I know that we've done it here. I know that we've done it along with Verizon. It would be great to see it happen in the entirety of the state of Maryland. And if you're interested in pushing for statewide legislation, the final slide will help you help the cause and join MD5G of the MD5G partnership. So thank you so much.
Wow. All I can say is, wow, this is amazing. This, like I said, we were so excited about hearing about this technology. And like you mentioned, Anna, is not only the technology, but the opportunities that are going to be out there to stimulate economy, to create jobs and create new small businesses. And we're just excited about that. And the Maryland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is all about that, all about being able to mentor and educate our members and non-members for that matter, to make sure they have the tools to be able to get on board on these programs. So thank you for the information. This is exciting. Now I have the pleasure to introduce my good friend that I know for many years, Jaime Paniagua from Paniagua Enterprises. And Jaime, good to see you today. Today, I'd like you to share your story. Can you tell us, how you started in the cable infrastructure business? What type of opportunities do you think technology represents for Hispanic businesses? And also, what would you say to others, about the 5G technology, that is not only a technology, but instead is an opportunity for growth, their business and perhaps to start a new business. So please share your story and your experiences and how you got there. How did you get there? You're on mute. And that's the famous phrase from 2020, right? You're on mute.
Hello, good afternoon to everybody. Thanks, Marco, for inviting us to be part of this important task and a piece of information for everybody to understand that 5G is really important to continue growing, right? As a young man, I always like technology. So when I immigrated to the United States, I was always looking into what can I do to change the world, that big dream that we all young kids have. And sometimes, we don't understand change the world means to start around you. And this is what I decided to do. I start working towards changing my world around me. So technology was one of those things that I always love and admire. And I understand that change little by little. So we opened a company 28 years ago that started working for the United Cable company that was a cable provider in Baltimore City. We worked for those folks for close to 18 years. They became AT&T, Comcast, and we were building networks for those folks through Baltimore City. We probably did good 80% of the high rises in Baltimore City to pre-wire and post-wire. We built probably close to 200 miles of network in Baltimore City. And from that type of experience on delivering these services, we were tasked by Comcast to open an office in Atlanta, Georgia. So we were an open office in Atlanta, Georgia to help them build the system up there. Around that time, we were working for Verizon as well. That became one of our strongest partners on the business side of the Verizon. So we were tasked to work with Verizon to build some of the networks in Atlanta, Georgia as well. We continue operating to build networks since that point. And the fact that the technology was changing and evolving gave us access to other types of businesses within communications. So again, Paniaguas is a turnkey company in the communication arena. We don't just build the networks. We actually design it, activate it, and deliver it to the front desk, to the folks to be able to utilize their computers, the cameras, whatever devices they are to be used. A couple of years back, 5 years exactly, we were approached by Crown Castle to talk about building a network in Baltimore City. And the network was 5G. And the greatest thing on this was that we was not just tasked to do the network for Crown Castle, but we were be participant to enhance mobility, cell phones. And I'm talking about working directly or indirectly with T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon. So that was very exciting, be able to not just build a network for these 5 great giants in the world, but the biggest piece was that we were able to create employment and opportunities within the community. We a company was founded in Baltimore City 28 years ago. And as today, we still operate out of Baltimore City. One of the biggest things that we decided to do back then, going back to changing the world, was about changing our community. So 40% of the employees that work for the company, they actually are Baltimore City residents. And these folks being able to transform their lives, their families, and create other opportunities for other folks. As today, we still continue doing business with Crown Castle, Verizon. We just got a new task work order last year to build a network for the school system in Baltimore City. Something that we're really proud about it because I think education is a must. And for us to be able to provide access to the kids to be able to learn things like this and quicker, it's really, really great to do. The funniest thing about it, we were this task, we gave that task a year and a half ago before COVID. And if you we're thinking more about, we were right there before this sickness came into our world. And we were preparing to do these type of services through Zoom. So that's kind of exciting, like, we were first there. Now with Verizon, we had another partnership. We just were tasked a month ago to build a network for the COVID centers for vaccination. We just finished 45 minutes ago conference call with our partner from Verizon, our director, because now we've been tasked to do 3 more centers through Maryland. And we are to deploy the teams this Friday to start building these centers so the first responders can have access to information a lot quicker, right, than what you used to be before. And this is because 5G technology we deploy into these centers. So again, that's what we've been doing the last 28 years. And we're very excited to be here with our partners, Crown Castle, Verizon, and definitely with the Chamber of Commerce, a group that we've been involved for many years, and we're proud to be representatives of these folks. So again, thank you, Marco, for having us here.
Jaime, thank you so much. One thing I'd like to ask you is, what would you say to people that are out there, waiting for an opportunity or start a business, especially with this opportunity coming up with 5G? You have a specialty service and that you provide, and not too many people, can offer that. So what kind of encouragement would you give to people that are listening about, maybe starting a new business or enhance what they have?
Sure. Through the years, we've been thinking of how to duplicate, triplicate what we're doing. So we've been thinking about creating some type of franchising business, kind of implement what we know how to do for smaller companies, because it takes an effort and takes a lot of money and time to grow the company, right? 5 years ago, when we started with Crown Castle, we have 20 folks allocated to the project. Today, we have 90 people working on that project for the last 5 years. And has been nonstop. Has been to the point that when they have a need, they just grab the phone, call us, and like, hey, we need a couple more crews on these sites. So we hire people from the community. We, and reach out to whoever wants to do business. Within Paniaguas, the last 28 years, one of the biggest things that I personally take my time to do is that I like to mentor people. Mentoring our own people so they can grow within the company. We have folks that used to be laborers that happen to be supervisors now. We had laborers that came to the company that become business owners. I can proudly say that we have at least 10 different people, 10 folks that came through the company the last 28 years, that they are actually our competition right now, because they were mentored by Paniaguas. And we love that, because what they do and what we're doing, we create opportunity to everybody else. So they go out there and they continue changing the world on that way. For people now, this is something that people should really look into, invest some time to learn this business. It's a very lucrative business. I don't think it's gonna go nowhere, because technology changes every 3 to 5 years. Every time technology changes, we have the opportunity to do something different within our business. So therefore, the company, Paniaguas, has been always a turnkey company on these services. We'd be happy to have a conversation with whoever wants to discuss more this in depth. And again, thanks to Crown Castle, Verizon, these folks give us the opportunity to be part of these services as well. So, the opportunity for them is there. We just had to have more in-depth conversation.
Perfect. And I have the time in. I'm looking at the clock, and it's almost 1:30, so I want to be mindful of everyone's time. Thank you, everyone who participated in this event. We loved it. I think For the Maryland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, this is the type of examples that we want to find in our community, and we want to unlock. In this event, you heard about, Verizon, Crown Castle, and Jaime. Like, we went from big to small, to publicly traded to privately owned in this event. And this is the type of stuff that we want to find in Baltimore City. So if you want to become part of the Chamber of Commerce, talk to us. If you want to, work with anyone who is part of the Maryland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, talk to us. Like Marco said, we love our members, we nurture them, but we also want to encourage those who are not our members to work with us as well. Those folks are also important for us. Marco, some final remarks, and just as a final reminder, this will be recorded and it will be on YouTube, and we'll put it on our website as soon as we can, so everyone can go back and there was so much information from all the parties. So definitely worth watching 2 or 3 times, and as well as ways how you can support legislation on this matter, like Anna said. So we'll be posting all that. Marco, any final remarks? I'm trying to stay true to our time here.
Yeah. I lost signal for a second. I think it's because I don't have a Verizon connectivity, so I'm gonna have to switch. But yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I just want to thank Mario and Ana and Jaime for this amazing presentation. I think we learned a lot. And you can tell that, this is an amazing opportunity for Maryland, and not only for Maryland, for the Hispanic community, the Hispanic businesses. I think based on the 2018 census, we had about 60,000 Hispanic businesses in Maryland. And I'm really looking forward to see the 2020 census, because I think we're going to go over the 100,000 Hispanic businesses. And that's something to think about, because that's opportunity right there, and for the technology part, to offer all these services, and not only services, but also like what Jaime mentioned, education, mentoring, and being able to tell them, look, this is out there, get on the wagon, and this is an opportunity not only to use the technology, but also to work on it and be part of the business and part of the infrastructure that is going to be built. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is amazing. I hope we can do this again. Maybe come up with another presentation with updates on the stuff that you guys doing. I also like to thank our sponsors. Sponsors, we have Verizon as a sponsor as well, First Energy, MMT Bank, SMECO, Patriots Federal Credit Union, BB&T, Giovanni Co. also as well. And thank you so much for providing all these connectivity that you're doing for us. And the business, the Baltimore Business Journal. Really, without the sponsors, these cannot happen. So thank you so much, and stay safe and thirsty, my friends. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.